How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and welcome back to our playthrough of Fall from Heaven 2, the high fantasy mod for Civilization 4, in which we're playing the Wages of Sin scenario as the evil alignment with the Calabim civilization. Their leader is Decius. So, let's get started. Now, you might recall at the end of last episode, we had this small attack right here. I say small, but I'm still a little bit worried about it. So there are a couple of things that I'm going to do in preparation. We have a blood pet here in our city of Nubia, and I'm going to be moving that over here to my capital. And next turn, I hope to be able to upgrade it to a vampire. Or will I? Let me think here. Do I actually have to have a governor's manor to upgrade it to a vampire? Do we have any other blood pets? I know the blood pet can be upgraded to a vampire, and no, we don't. I think that's our only blood pet. Just a second. We're going to be looking at our military units here, and is there a blood? Yeah, we just have the one. I'm pretty sure next turn I'll have the ability to upgrade it when it has its full movement back again. In addition to doing that, I was thinking about moving my adept into this city that would probably be attacked as well, because she can cast the blur spell. So I kind of forget what blur does, but it just seems like having it would be better than having nothing. So I'm going to do that. I think all of these other cities are okay. I forget what attacked my city here of Kahir Abbey. Something attacked me. It was pretty significant. Oh, I attacked. Yeah, I was the aggressor in that situation. And I won. Barely. 0.3 health left. Or strength left. So, next turn. As Secretary General, you can choose a UN resolution to put forward for a global vote. This is for our alignment. I'm not actually, there's no UN in the game. It's just nobody bothered to change that text there. So, what would probably be the most beneficial? A smuggling ring. I think that allows us to build a new building. Fund dissidents, enlist the Night Watch. Develop secret codes. Let's do the smuggling ring. Let's vote for that. It's nice to have an additional building available to us. Okay, I think they came one step forward. So he's only going to be moving one square, one tile at a time, which it gives me a little bit more flexibility, doesn't it? Have some opportunity here to get units such as my war elephant all the way over to that city. So what I'm going to do with the war elephant, I'm going to move him onto the same tile as our ritualist here, and then have the vampire join them, cast haste for all of these units. And as you can see, we have haste for the elephant now, the war elephant, and we should be faster. So let's normally it would be going like that. Okay. Yeah. I should build a road on this tile, I think, because right now I have to circle all the way around here. Like this, even this tile right here, these plains, they don't have a road built on that tile, so I have to really loop around when I want. Like, let's say I want to move to my capital when I'm on this road from my other cities. It's just I need to build a road there. It's as simple as that. Yeah, you can see the vampire considers it faster just to do that, rather than actually go ahead and use the roads, because the roads are just they're in such a U-turn configuration here that it's worse. But our ritualist isn't. They say 3 turns right now. Here's our diseased corpse that I should not have upgraded. Like, I wasn't aware diseased corpse could be actually so cool. Like, 7 strength is nothing to sneeze at. If we compare it to a vampire, they're only 6 strength, so I might actually be building more diseased corpse in the future. Would it be corpses? More diseased corpses? Probably. That sounds right. I should know, right? Because I speak English as a first language. Ha ha ha, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't. I mean, I speak it as a first language, but that there's still words that I get hung up on. Okay. So we have vampires along with this stack. So we're just going to give them the haste promotion, I believe. And that will make moving around a little bit faster. I think after we move and counter this attack, then we'll just go after the Malachim. And then that way, you know, this entire area over here will be secure and I don't have to worry about defending from two fronts. Because at the moment, you know, we have Basium over here. Really, we have Basium over here. We have the Malachim on the east side of the map. I'm going to call that the east side. And then, of course, there are the good elves up here on the north part of the map. So the thing is, like, if I get rid of the Malachim over here, I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's really no easy way for the enemies to get to me except through the Mercurian lands owned by Basium. So I think that's one of the primary reasons why we're going to be focusing on the Malachim, and it's just a matter of convenience that we have this attack to repel, which sort of justifies me immediately moving the stack back home. Let's get that road built that I was talking about there. So, here's the Blood Pet, and no, we actually cannot upgrade the Blood Pet to a vampire unless there is a governor's manor in the city. So, I was wrong about that. I should have upgraded him to a vampire last turn. Maybe we won't bother with this then? I'm not sure. We're currently at our max happiness cap, which means we probably should be... Oh, yeah, we are building the public baths in here. But we do need the building. We do need the governor's manor if we want to upgrade units into vampires, which does make sense when you think about it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead, finish the upgrade. We have more than enough gold to cover it, so you know that's not an issue. We do need to build a plantation here, though, on top of the razor weed. What does the blur promotion give us, out of curiosity? It makes me immune to first strikes and immune to defensive strikes. I'm not sure he has any units that actually cause... Ooh, yes, the Vicar right there causes 1 to 3 first strikes. That's quite a few. So, this promotion will help us defending at least... This promotion will help us in defending against at least one of their units. There. I've conquered that sentence. Let's finish the road. And I've trained an archer here. I think we have 3 archers in that city now. So the next archer that we train is actually going to be going over here to Kahir Abbey to help my ranger defend the place. At the moment, though, we can use this hill giant. I don't know. How many hill giants do I have moving right now? We only have 2. Do we only have 2? That's interesting. Animal units, I believe? No. No, we still have 3 hill giants. One of them is actually in that city at the moment that's going to be attacked. So technically we would have like 2 of them if we go ahead and attack the Malachim next. Are they the Malachim? Yeah, just double checking there. Sometimes I get the names wrong. Okay, we're going to bring all the giants home then. That's the executive decision to be made here. So the smuggling ring succeeds, even though only my ally bothered voting for it. So I that's an interesting one. Like, you would think by default, the 50% would sort of default to the status quo, right? Like the incumbent would be the default. You would think that things couldn't get passed if they couldn't at least reach a majority consensus. But apparently that's not how it works in civilization. We needed 2 votes and we got 2 votes, and it doesn't matter if everybody else tied us. So we got our smuggling ring because we formed advantageous partnerships, but otherwise, like, who knows how Ferial would have voted otherwise. Obviously, now that she's on my team, she'll vote however I vote. So that's it's beneficial in that sense. So the vampire. I mean, we could raise up a whole bunch more skeletons. Like, I think, well, maybe not a whole bunch of them. We're limited to 1 skeleton per vampire. So if you have like 10 vampires on the map, that means you can have 10 skeletons. What's really interesting about the skeletons though is that they don't belong to each vampire. It's like a vampire can summon them based on the number of vampires on the map, but they can all be in one location, all summoned by that one vampire, which makes it a little bit interesting for getting around, for getting units where you need them. Okay, we're going to be doing a little bit of scouting here, the Mercurian lands. What do we have? It's a lot of longbowmen defending that city. So that would be a little bit difficult to take, I think, with our current army. So it might have been advisable not to attack after all. And he has quite a few angels. So now, for those who aren't aware of the lore behind this game, the Mercurians, they basically are the good equivalent of Hyborum and what is it, the Infernal Civilization over here. So like this is the epic struggle between good and evil that takes place, and it's personified on the good side by Basium, and on the evil side as the Infernals. So I am personally in this scenario, I chose to be of the evil alignment. So that means that we're basically fighting against the good alignment, which includes Basium. I had the option, if I'd made different choices in previous scenarios, to actually be on the good team, or of the, what would it be called? The good alignment, I think. It's the over council. But it says the unavailable to evil leaders, and then under council would be unavailable to good leaders. So yeah, I think they're considered good. That's just like the generic label that is applied to them. Okay, there'll be another turn yet. They'll probably stop and pillage that mine. So we have, I mean, keeping that in mind, we'd have quite a few turns left. Okay, so this vampire only has one movement, which means we're going to be moving onto a road with an elephant on it. We're going to use our spell. Wait, we should have a ritualist around here somewhere. Where's the ritualist? I know I brought him along. The vampire there. Okay. Where are the units? Where are my units? Come on, guys. All military. Really? My ritualist is way over here already? Oh, he already moved this turn. That's too bad, because I could have given him a little bit of a shot of speed by casting haste with my vampire. Instead, we'll just do it like this. Give it to the war elephant. And the war elephant can make it to that city in one turn now. If we lose the copper mine, that's fine. I can rebuild that easily enough. You can sort of see, though, how very important speed is when it comes to attacking. Like, I was able to move pretty much an entire army across my entire empire and get it into that city to defend by the time, you know, he moved 3 tiles into my borders towards that city. So that can be like a huge advantage if you're actually playing against human players. I'll admit I'm not very experienced, because I think by and large Civilization 4 is the premier single player experience. It's not as focused on multiplayer. You can do it, but it's quite a commitment, right? It can easily take like 20 hours to finish a game. Okay. Yeah, we got some pillaging going on. What did they pillage? A village has been pillaged by a marauding Malachim swordsman. So they went ahead and decided to actually go and pillage the village that was on the city. They left my mine alone for now, which means that we're a little bit more pressed for time than I thought we would be. But we're going to get our ritualist in the city. It's interesting. The exact turn needed. Got him there. And we're going to cast the Ring of Flame. So 1 is better than none. 2 would be much better than 1. We're going to try that. And as you can see, quite a few of those units were damaged by the fire. Just doing a little bit of collateral damage there to help weaken them. So, like you can see here, the odds are pretty much in our favor now, with 98.5% odds with of our war elephant killing them. Of course, one of the other things I can do, I think I'm going to summon in. I mean, I'm going to hold off this turn on actually attacking. Going to summon in a couple more skeletons, and we'll attack next turn, I think, because then like this vampire should be here as well. Let's see here. Can we? Yeah, we can use haste. So that's another 2 movement points extra. So he'll definitely be in attacking range by next turn. And that pretty much draws out our entire army, aside from this force here, which is on its way. Let's give it that haste promotion. And yeah, as you can see, wait, there's no road here. Too bad this guy is not quite ready to finish building a road. One more turn and he would have finished building the road. What happens if we move this? No. I still won't be able to finish it in 1 turn because it would use up 2 movement points before actually getting onto the tile itself. So building a mine on that hill there would be useful. It's most certainly within range. I think another thing that this is coupled with is the fact that enemy healing rates, I believe, are lower in our lands that have a resource for this. Is it shadow mana? Is it? I think it's entropy. Wait, I have body mana plus 5% to heal rate of friendly units within your borders. It's pretty much the opposite of what I was looking for. What does? Yeah, I don't have any entropy. What does shadow mana do? I'm curious now. I'd probably be located under resources, and we're looking for probably S. Yeah, here we go. It grants access to shadow spells. This will allow adepts to cast blur. Okay, that explains why I have an adept that can cast that promotion. Owning additional resources of this resource will increase the strength of any mist forms summoned by your archmages, as well as any shadow riders that you build. It will increase the strength of shadow riders? Really? So I think those are quite synergistic with like a Night Watch. Under Council allows us... No, that's not it. Where is the technology that allowed... Oh, wait, here they are. Here are shadow riders. They're a national unit, but they start with the hidden nationality promotion, which makes them sort of like the mounted equivalent of the Night Watch, which I have opined before that it just doesn't make sense to have a unit with hidden nationality that's geared almost exclusively towards defending cities. So I could definitely see the Shadow Rider being... Like, does it require the unit? Yeah, it does require that religion. I forget the name of it. It's the Council of Isus requires that religion to build it. But it's an interesting unit. Like, it certainly is powerful. You look at the movement and the strength behind it. And then if you have shadow mana, like I could see the benefits of it being a bit cumulative and starting to stack. It'd be pretty impressive. So this worker's working on building a lumber mill. I'm not sure. What tiles are we working? Why are we not very happy? I suppose we don't need more farms. So at this point, improving the hill tiles would be the obvious route to go. I don't think we'll be needing the hill giant. That's what we're going to do. We're going to heal for 1 turn. Well, this would be 1 turn as well. Yeah, so both stacks, I think. No, that would actually be a waste of time. What we're going to do is we're going to cast regeneration. And then we're going to move the moves. And that will have us healed by 1 turn, even though we are walking. The concern here is that he attacks me, and he very well might. But we know we did some collateral damage. We have a very powerful longbowman in the city. We have a war elephant. We have a couple of vampires. I don't see him taking it in 1 turn. Like, even if he threw all those catapults, which he probably will, he probably threw all those catapults at me. What does he have to attack? A swordsman, and a damaged one at that. I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's see what he does. Yeah. We took some damage. I see a lot of red text there. Let's see what the results were here. We also had more pillaging going on. Cottage has been destroyed. Hamlet has been destroyed. So, I've suffered collateral damage. Yes, indeed. Suffered My longbowman did kill one of the Malachim catapults, killed another one. One catapult withdrew from combat with my longbowman. Another one withdrew. He lowered my defenses down to 5%. I don't think I built walls in that city, no. And that's pretty much the extent of it. So he didn't do a whole lot. He did hit me with some of his catapults, but he still has some left. One of them at least did the bombardment, so that one he could attack with next turn. But aside from that, it's just a bunch of units at this point. So, I think the first thing we want to start with is my ritualist took damage. Now, how do you think that happened? I don't know. Oh, the collateral damage. There we go. I'm not sure how I missed it. Yeah, of course. When he dealt collateral damage, it damaged this unit. Okay, well, we're going to try doing some collateral damage in return. How is my elephant? My elephant is healed completely, so we can most certainly attack with that unit. Another thing that we can do, if we wake up these vampires, we got some spells I think we can cast. This one, okay, we can bring in 2 specters. What we're going to do here is use this vampire, which doesn't have the ability to cast specters, to cast a haste promotion. And we're going to use the other 2 vampires to bring in specters. And then we're going to use all of our skeletons and all of our specters to deal additional damage, hopefully. Wow, 2 of my skeletons actually won. That was unexpected. I suppose we should just attack. Forget the specters, because they'll probably win at this point. Yeah, 75% odds. Let's get some of that XP for our actual units. 99.9% odds. How about a hill giant? Because the hill giants are units that are hard to get XP for. So, if we have some easy targets, I think it's a good idea to use the hill giant. So I guess we're just going to use the vampire here. Get some extra XP for these units, maybe. 99.3%. And 99.9% odds. Pretty sure we can finish this off. Got the war elephant. Can use our diseased corpse. And we're down to 2 catapults. So, I mean, we could use the wraiths. Let's just do that. Took about 1 catapult there. What was that longbowman doing? 1 catapult down. 1 to go. There's a very strong catapult over here yet. And I think the only unit that we really have is the longbowman, which has pretty good odds against it, granted. Not sure I want to sacrifice it on a catapult. Let's try it. Okay, so that attack is entirely taken care of, which is what I hoped the result would be. And I guess we can go on the offensive after this. That was a relatively simple attack to take care of. Could have been worse. Like, I think when we started, only had a couple of units in that city. But he made the mistake of taking too long to actually get to the city walls. So, that's what happens. I'm not certain on what I want to do with these workers at this point. I guess I'll bring them home. I'm tempted to start just automating the workers. The downside of that would be they wouldn't specialize my economy quite as nicely. Okay, let's add some haste here. We'll get there in 2 turns. We are deleting the Spectre. I don't want to be paying any additional maintenance for that. And this city now should have, yeah, it's quite a bit of extra happiness, which means that we can certainly grow it. I want to start building more farm improvements. I could improve this tile right here with the farm quite substantially. But aside from that, I think we're going to go for a vampire. We don't want to focus too much on the economy because we still are at war. And I also completed the public baths in this city, which means we can remove the turn off growth button and automate this city. the allocation of its citizens again. So the public baths are pretty powerful. And we're actually making a bit more science now. Maybe I want to go with science or a library in this city now. Because what was I building in it before? I have the Hunter's Lodge, so I can build Rangers and Hawks. Maybe that's what I should build. Because, like, we recently unlocked the... Oh, wait, what about an Assassin? Ooh. I think we did need the Hunter's Lodge to build an Assassin, right? Yeah, we did. So this is the only city that I have that can build Assassins, I think. So let's build an Assassin. I think that would be valuable to have as part of our assault force, because the assassins can take out the weakest units in cities, which means that even on turns when you wouldn't normally be able to attack yet, because let's say the most powerful unit that is defending that city still hasn't been damaged quite enough, and you might very well be able to take out the weakest unit that's in that city, and that gives you a little bit of extra forward momentum to keep an attack going. Okay, here we have a small event. And thus the first sign of the oncoming darkness shall be to the mortal realm. Ooh, I think we hit the magic number. Crops shall be destroyed by withering sickness, leaving only barren fields of desolation to meet the eyes of hungry children. Animals shall perish as plague and disease rages rampantly throughout every pasture. And so shall the desperate mortals trying to feed off their meat. Many shall die during this first time of hardship, yet those who survive will live to become envious of the dead. Oh no, we took a lot of damage. Everybody took a lot of damage. Now, I kind of forget how this works exactly. Because, like, if you look in the Civilopedia, I think it would be under concepts here. So we're talking about the Armageddon counter. Here we are. The Armageddon counter is this number that's located in the end turn button. The Armageddon counter goes up when bad things happen. For example, cities are razed, the Ashen Veil religion is founded, or an entropy node is built. And down when good things happen. The hero dies, the Ashen Veil holy city is raised, etc. Depending on the civs in the game, the Armageddon counter either rises slowly over the course of the game or tends to grow to about 20 to 40 and then levels off, assuming the player doesn't do anything to influence it. It affects many things. Hell terrain, it's this oddly colored terrain, will only spread to Ashen Veil players' lands until the counter hits 25. Then it will start to spread to unowned tiles, as you can see right here. It's spreading into lands that are not owned by an Ashen Veil player. It's neutral. At 50, it will start to spread to other evil players. So, like my ally. And at 75, it will start to spread to neutral lands. So as you can see, if you're good, you never have to worry about the hell terrain spreading into your territory. So if hell is beginning to creep into your lands, you have a few options. Okay, that's not what we're interested in doing. The Armageddon counter also influences the chance that fire spreads to nearby tiles and the attitude modifier between good and evil civs. There's a promotion called Stigmata that gives the unit a percentage bonus equal to half the Armageddon counter, as well as other mechanics that reward some players, especially the Shiam, for having a high Armageddon counter. We had the option of playing the Shiam, but we decided to stick with Decius. Since the alignment attitudes are influenced by the Armageddon counter, getting better towards their own alignment and worse towards the opposed alignment when the Armageddon counter gets high, huge good versus evil battles tend to break out. Yeah, so they don't tell you like what all the events that are associated with the Armageddon counter, I don't think. I really don't see it. I mean, that's a pretty vague description of it. It gives you the gist, but little else. What do we have in here? I'm just wondering if it gave us a bad building. I don't see a bad building, but then look at all this. 17 from Blight. So yeah, our cities are going to start starving quite significantly. We can help counter this by using vampires to feed off of them. Interestingly, this city, even with all the Blight, is not going to... wait, it is shrinking quite significantly as well. I imagine Prespers... yeah, Prespers one turn away from shrinking. So I guess what I'm going to do in this situation... give myself haste for Losha. and she will go to Presper. Then one of my other vampires is going to go back to Nubia. One that has at least 2 movement points. Let's see here. Take a look at experience, 29 versus 27. Okay, we're going to take the 29 one. And, well, first you can cast the heal. Everybody heal, even when moving. And, okay, yeah, that's a good point. I won't be able to use the feed thing yet. So I didn't have anything to take advantage of it in Nubia. So, what we can do, though, instead... Oh, wait. I already cast a spell for her, didn't I? Okay, well, that's fine, because she's getting a lot of free experience anyway. Let's use this guy instead. Send him to that city, and then he can cast Feast. So this, we have 27 experience. It moved us up to 33. So 6 XP for that. We can only do it once per turn, and we'll have an option to do it once again. So we're going to try to maximize our potential losses here from the Blight. It should recover with time. But in the interim, we're just going to sort of hold the fort and wait for it to pass and feast, or at least feed our vampires off of these cities in the hopes that we can claim some of that extra population as experience instead of letting it go to waste. So I do have vampires in this city. This promotion would allow regeneration. Do any of these vampires have regeneration? Because I think having 2 vampires with the regeneration spell available would be a good thing. So yeah, we're going to promote him for regeneration. And we're going to promote this one for Death 2 to get us a Spectre. We can actually heal our diseased corpse, interestingly enough. That would change his stats quite significantly, because at the moment, see, he's diseased, which means he heals slower, he has less strength, but he will pass the diseased promotion to enemies in combat. I don't know. Is that really that valuable? I mean, he would be a pretty normal unit without it. But the thing is, you know, you can always heal diseased units relatively easily. This skeleton got a lot of... Oh, this one got a lot more experience. Look at that. 14 experience from 1 attack. Wow. Didn't expect it from a skeleton, I'll say. So he beats a pretty insurmountable odds. What is this? Heals 10% after combat. I don't see that promotion a lot, so it was a bit new to me. Let's just do another 20% strength. We'll keep this skeleton, I think. But then this skeleton, let's see here. He only got 2 promotions. I mean, they're not that strong, and they do cost me maintenance. And they also cost me flexibility, because if I need skeletons somewhere else, I can't just summon them all if 2 of them are lurking back here without deleting these first. So, I mean, that's certainly something to keep in consideration. You're going to be paying maintenance for these units that you're going to be keeping around, even if you don't need them. So, think about each unit and see if you really do need it or not. Probably should have kept that ranger behind. I mean, I should have left them stay where he was, so that way I could heal for a turn. That would have probably been the smart thing to do. As you'll notice, it only hit my units. Like, his units are not damaged, which is really interesting. Like, if you... Wait a minute, maybe they are. Because I see a whole bunch of units damaged here. Maybe the angels can't get damaged? How does that work? Yeah, okay, everybody seems to have taken the damage except for angels. I wonder if angels have like a natural immunity to it. So, no, it doesn't say they have an immunity. Like, easily. Like, this is all lore here. But, nope, doesn't mention an immunity. So I'm a little bit interested as to exactly why his angels don't appear to have taken damage. Or, taken damage. Okay. So we can build a farm here. Does this drain the swamp? We can build a fort. Because -1 hammer. Let's try building a farm here, after all. Just to see what happens. Okay, Losha can skip a turn. Our longbowman is getting another first strike. Congratulations. And we probably should get those workers over here to rebuild that cottage. So that ends that turn. Let's see what happens. If we take more damage, our units take more damage during this next turn. Or if it was just a one-time. No, apparently it's only a one-time thing. Okay, then. In that situation. I mean, Presper is going to lose. It's still starving, so it's going to lose another population unless I feed off of it. So we're going to do that once again. Got 5 experience that time. And the city is still starving because we are losing a lot of food. We're making 20 and we're consuming just 22 from the simple, the blight that struck us. Oh, wait, go back to that vampire. Can he eat? Oh, he can only feast off of a city once per turn, apparently. Oh, wait, no, you can. You can feast more. Okay, we're going to use Losha for that. So 47 experience. And we're down to 4 experience per turn. Or per population consumed. Interestingly enough, I'll have to check this next turn. Why are we still only stuck at +1? We cannot forget your cruel oppression. Now, I thought that every time you fed off the city, you would increase that number by 1. So that meant that, you know, if you feasted off of a city 3 times, you would get +3 from it. Maybe that's not the case. That would really open up some interesting strategies for vampires then, for, you know, making high experience vampire units. Because the way I understood it, it was never a possibility to do it too much because your cities would just be really unhappy. But now, if it is capped at 1, we'll see next turn. If it is capped at 1, I'll probably be using Feast a lot more. Our giant, of course, can't feast. I guess we'll just... Wait. We'll use one of our vampires here. 5 out of 10 experience. Okay, this vampire. Since it's not going to actually lose a population this turn, I'll simply let it starve a little bit yet before I feast on it again. Our adept has another promotion coming to it, so this would allow... We could promote for Law 1. We could promote for Spell Extension 1. I already have access to the Mobility promotion. Oh, and that's for summoned units, and I don't plan on summoning units with this adept. I mean, obviously when you upgrade them to mages and stuff, it becomes a lot more like an option, but, you know, as an adept, she can't summon anything. We could promote it for Body 1, allows haste, but we already have vampires that do that, so we're going to go with Loyalty. So here's the Loyalty spell. What does that do exactly? It makes you immune to capture. A loyal unit will die instead of being converted to an opponent's cause. Unit is 20% more likely to resist the Charm Person spell. So by and large, I don't think that's a spell, or either of those are risks that I really run into against the AI. That seems like a more player versus player focused thing. We're going to heal our Hawk and we're going to heal our Ranger there instead of doing our scouting missions. I think the rest of these rich lists, ooh, I don't know. How are the things looking on this side? I mean, I don't see him trying to attack any of my cities. So I think we will just continue on towards Malachim lands then. So let's get those guys moving. We didn't build... Okay, this is the vampire that was supposed to feed off the city. Okay. Right, got it. Let's do that. Just curious. Let's see here. Yeah, it's still limited at +1 for the unhappiness from feasting on the city. Is there an enemy unit here that I can't see? Why did this work? Okay, this is a new worker. I was going to say, why did this worker stop working on building that farm? I needed that farm complete. Nubia is still starving, quite significantly. I guess we'll just do another feast. Yeah, cruel oppression is capped at 1 apparently. Wow. I honestly did not expect that. Here, this vampire has a lot of cool promotions available. Do we have mobility? No. We could take that. We really don't need heal while moving. The March promotion is not that useful if you have vampires that can cast haste, which most vampires, if not all of them, can. So I'm just looking at, like, what would be the ideal matchup for this unit? I could have a guard against enemy marksmen. I think in the end, we just promote for a lot of combat, a lot of general sort of combat promotions. And as you can see, Presper is still starving. So I guess that means another feast. And we're still starving, so that means Losha has another promotion available, so we're going to be focusing on the heroic promotions because these are only available to actual heroes. And feast with her. That only gave us 1 experience, so the returns are certainly starting to diminish. Maybe I should stop doing. I mean, if the city's going to lose its population anyway, holy smokes. I mean, one great thing is this will allow us to use our world spell when this whole blight is over with a little bit. I'm especially keen on doing that because that will really help jumpstart my cities. I'm just curious if any of their cities are experiencing the same kind of situation. I really don't see it, but I don't think we've given it enough time yet to see the full consequences of this blight. Because they don't tell you about it in the Civilopedia. They really don't detail it all that well. Here's a vampire with... I guess we're just going to go and give it the Combat 1 promotion. And we're really close to moving out. I would like to move out pretty soon and head towards Malachim lands. Let's heal this worker. I'm not even sure why we're doing that. I just don't like to see the heal button flashing on my units. I suppose that's as good as an answer that you're going to get out of me. So I think at this point we can agree that it really doesn't benefit us to feast on these cities anymore. Like no matter how many population we drag out of it, we're not going to counter the amount of food that's being taken away simply by the fact that it has blight. Like, if anything, we're doing more damage than good here. So in the interest of just sort of waiting out the blight, we're not going to feast off these cities that are so low in population they would hardly give us any XP anyway. Astrologers report that the Shield of Valor has moved into prominence. This constellation is sacred to Huniel and marks a rise in his power within the world. If we had the Order religion, we could have got something from it. We don't, so we won't. Van Gosum has created... Who? Now? What the... He has created the Huron Throne. Does the Huron Throne give him a special hero? Let's see. Beyond Wonders, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I don't know why I can't find it. Oh, there it is. No, this just increases the water tiles by the productivity of water tiles in that city by 1. He has... Oh, they don't mention it here? They don't mention it. That sucks because he created a special unit. I wanted to see what it was, but I forgot its name and I can't look it up now because they don't tell me in the log. The log should tell all. I'm a firm believer in the log telling all. The one thing I really like about promoting my ritualists with the combat promotion is the fact that it does increase spell damage. So that makes these ritualists pretty powerful when causing collateral damage. Okay, so I think we should move out this turn. Let's grab all the giants. Is there a road there anymore? No. And no road on that hill either. Okay, whatever. We will manage to get by without it. Get all the vampires. Get 2 of the ritualists. 1 ritualist is going to be staying home in case I'm attacked locally. I don't want to have all of my units out in the field. So this is going to be the starting of our attack stack. Let's give them all speed boost and we're on our way. So we have a couple of other units that need to catch up. Oops, Losha and this vampire. So let's get these 2 on the move. I'd like them to catch up with the stack as soon as possible, which might not be possible. But we're going to see what the best is that we can do here. Because obviously feasting off of Presper at this point is an exercise in futility. We're not going to get anything significant off of that. It's just going to drag us down more. We're still... Okay, plus 12 from Blight. It has reduced significantly. So hopefully we will see a bit of a rebound here in a couple turns. So at the moment it's 12. Obviously, your cities can't drop below 1 population, so I've dropped as low as I can get in my capital. So it was 12 last turn, and what? We're up to 15 from Blight. Okay, we better check this city again. This is the city where I said it was 12. This one's moved down to 11, from 12 to 11. I guess we're just going to continue to let these cities starve. And we'll wait until the Blight has largely been reduced before we use our River of Blood promotion. So I was sort of keeping this in my toolbox. What it does is it increases all the populations of all my cities to the detriment of all the populations of, is it enemy civilizations or all non-Calabim? I think it's all non-Calabim. Yeah. So, I mean, I probably would want to cast it before they're, like right now would be the ideal time, because you can see these cities are starving as well. Slowly but surely. So like if I wanted to cause the greatest economic impact to these other civilizations' cities, I would want to cast before their populations are already down to 1. But on the flip side of that, I would also like to maximize it for my benefit as well. So in that situation, like whenever it would be best for me to get population, like a couple of population back in my cities, and make no mistake about it, that extra population is pretty important to jumpstart a city.
Come to me.
Okay, more movement is available to us. With haste, we should. Oh, I should not have cast that. That was a mistake. Okay, we're just gonna have to wait a turn there then. Next turn, we'll be on the move for sure. These workers are actually needed up here to rebuild that road. What is this hill giant for? I think we should bring him along. But unfortunately, he doesn't have enough movement to do it. So we're going to have to wait another... Oh my goodness. Because I can't boost him at all with vampires either. Which makes it a really sucky situation. So I try to link this a little bit better with the roads. You constructed a ritualist. Yes, indeed. Let's work on those public baths. And once our cities rebound, we can start producing some killer vampires. Given the fact that we know now that there really isn't any limit to... Wait, what? Barbarian is captured? And it was raised. There's a city way up here. So apparently she can't attack my enemies, but she will run around with this huge stack of assassins and attack barbarian cities. I wonder why. Okay. We're on the move regardless. Let's take out, like, wait, which city would probably be the fastest to get to? That's 4 turns there. Looking at 6 turns up there. Okay, we're going to go up here. So, our first route. Now, it kind of goes without saying, but I keep making this mistake, so I should bring it up. When you're going to use the haste promotion, it makes sense not to move your, or it makes sense to move your units first before actually using it. Because otherwise what happens is you can jump on top of a hill, and even though you added 1 additional movement points to your unit's stack, that extra movement point is immediately taken away because the hill requires 2 movement points to move over, right? So from that perspective, it really doesn't make sense to do it. We're currently researching, well, I'm researching Boers and Ferial's researching mathematics. That's funny because I always thought that allies would research what you researched, but apparently not. A training yard we could build here. I don't really see the point in building another one of those archery ranges here. We already have one of our cities making ranged units. How would we look in terms of like a library? Because I think this has an academy in it. Yes, it does. So I think a library would be good because we already have our academy boosting the production of science. So that does make it like a fairly decent science city. We probably just need more farms around here. Like I could build a farm up here next to that river for the additional coin. How are we doing in terms of our blight? We're still at 10 blight in that city. And what about my capital? Because my capital is really hit hard. 14 blight. I still think that's too high. Like we're making 8 food. We're consuming 13. So if we got 2 more population, that would increase, that would narrow the gap by well, 2. We don't have a lot of food around the city. I need to make some changes around this city because we don't have nearly as much food as we should have. So I think we'll not do that quite yet. We'll wait for the blight to go down a little bit more. 13 from blight still in this city. I think the higher the population when it started, the higher amount of blight you'd get to make sure that your city was sufficiently reduced to 1 population. So, yeah, wow. All that progress from my cities pretty much wiped out by the blight. And Ferial continues flip-flopping between religions. And remember, that comes at the cost of anarchy. There's really no way to get through Basium's land here, or to be able to scout on the other side of this land without actually going ahead and walking through it. So I guess that's about the best we're going to get. It looks like he has 3 cities. I don't know if he has any more than that, but it doesn't look like it. So he would have been relatively easy to take out, I think. Well, caveat emptor, maybe he wouldn't be. He has a lot of units, like even if they're just 3 cities, if they're really concentrated in terms of the defenses, that doesn't make it a whole lot easier. Ooh, we got some of our burning sands already here. When the blight spreads into, or the shallow lands, the fallen lands, whatever they call it, when it spreads into the desert, it turns into burning sands, and they can actually start fires. If you look over here at the infernal stuff, this gives you a good idea what can happen when you have a desert that's taken over by the fallen lands, let's say. Okay, we have another movement coming to us here, so as I pointed out before, we want to do that first, then cast our haste promotion and take another free move. And these workers, okay, that worker is not healed, but these workers are. I said I wanted to start building more farms around my capital, so I'm going to be doing that. We're going to tear down this village here and turn that into a farm. That's for a start, because obviously we can support much higher population now. We have the happiness for it, and feasting off of those high population cities is not going to be the limiting factor at all, like I thought it was, like, because I'm so used to the slavery civic that I thought it was applied the same way, that, you know, additional feastings stacked. The negative popularity from additional feastings would stack, but it doesn't. So it sort of changes my strategy there when it comes to the vampires. I mean, I do like the vampires and the potential for them to feed off of cities, but this makes it a whole lot more powerful than I kind of anticipated. So I wanted to build a farm up there, so we're going to continue with that. Our units here can go ahead and get haste because we're going to be going into relatively flat lands. Since we're here, let's go ahead and pillage. We have the perk for it. We have the Raiders perk, which gives us double the gold from pillaging, so it'd be foolish to pass up on that. We're losing a significant amount of gold because of our cities have been reduced to nothing. Our economy is kind of collapsing in on itself at this point. Not a good thing. But hopefully we're going to be rebounding soon. Let's see here. Still 12 from blight. If I could get that farm up and going, then I would know that both of my citizens that I bring in would actually be working a farm instead of just treading water. It gives me leverage against the blight. Take a look at this city. We're currently making 6. We need to be making 11 to break even. If we bring 2 more population in here, that closes that gap by 4, which means we'd still be starving. So we need to wait a little bit longer before we use our special ability. Okay, how about now? Oh, we got the fire. We got the fire going here. Look at that. Told you the tile would be on fire. So, how about now? 10 from blight. So there's a gap of 4. We could use it in that city, and we would break even. We wouldn't lose any population from throwing in 2 more population. This city also would be fine. I'm just going to arrow key through these. 9 from blight. We definitely have the farms, so that would add an additional 4. We'd be good there. I think this might be the turn. 8 of 8. That looks stagnant. 14 of 14. Okay. So, this is the turn. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to select one of my units here. We're going to cast River of Blood. Out of curiosity, I wonder how other civilizations are doing. Like, we'll actually subtract from their cities. Okay, this city has 3 population. Should knock 2 out of there. Yeah, so my enemies should be hit by that. Let's take a look here at this city. That definitely... Yeah, okay, we can see a significant boost to our economy while at the same time penalizing them. Okay, let's try this. Let's try it. I have not used this spell a whole lot. This world spells can only be cast once per game. Are you sure you want to cast River of Blood? So, for those who aren't aware, what world spells do is every civilization, they have their own world spell. It can be used once per game, and you get to decide when to do it. Any unit that you own can cast a world spell, but once it's cast, you will no longer have access to it. I think it's just removed, but it might be grayed out. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do this. As you can see, our cities jumped by 2 in population. And if you look over here, you can tell his city's down by 2. That city, I think that city's down by 2. You can see this one's definitely down by 2, down to 1 population. This city's down by 2, from 4 to 2 population, and so is that city right there, down to 5 population. So it most certainly worked, and at the same time, it gave us a little bit of leverage here to actually go ahead and start growing our cities as the blight subsides, instead of having to grow them all from 1 population, because that takes the longest. You don't have the same sort of leverage with 1 population as you do with 3 population. It's very important to get that kind of leverage as soon as possible. And as you can see now, no, we don't have that River of Blood icon, that River of Blood spell for any of our units anymore, so that it simply does disappear. I wasn't sure if it grayed out or if it disappeared. It does disappear. I'm not sure we need our ranger for much, so what we're going to be doing here is he's sort of going to be our little bit of a scout to keep an eye out to see if we have an incoming attack. So he's probably going to stay up there and then just scout every turn. This city is unhappy just because it's too crowded, because of that those extra population points we threw into it. So I guess what we could do with that city then is work on building a baths in it. So we were building a library at the moment. It's up to 13 turns. Let's build the baths right now instead. Get a head start on that. Start working on it as soon as possible. Okay. Vampires. Let's speed this up. Step forward. I'm going to bombard with the hill giants. Reduced it to 0. This hill giant can join the group. Can use our ritualists for some nice damage. Longbowman is down to 3 strength. And what are our odds here? 99.9. How many? There are quite a few units in there, but I kind of want to hit him a bit, you know, before he has an opportunity to throw some spells against me. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cast Spectres. Cast 3 of those. Grab them all. Your Spectre defensive strike. Your Spectre damaged 9% by a long... Okay. That really doesn't matter. So, where do we go? Wait, what is this thing? Gives living units at least 6th level the vampire promotion. Oh, I can afford to give another unit the vampire promotion. Okay, bit of a risky attack. There's your risky attack of the day. There's 2 units. These vampires can also attack. Those are pretty good odds. Those are pretty good odds. There seems to be a hunter in there yet. Pretty good odds. Not sure about this one. 91% odds. Ooh, this ritualist has pretty good odds. What was happening to my voice there? The ritualist had pretty good odds, so we're going to use that. We're down to a longbowman. We might be able to use a vampire to kill it. Let's see here. 98.9, and this vampire is 99.8. So just an adept. Wait, I can't attack with this guy? I must have already attacked with him. So we have 2 adepts. And I think we're all out of units that can attack. Yes, we are. Okay. So overall, that was a very strong attack. Right on the first turn. Better than I expected. We should be able to take that city by the end of this episode. Because we are creeping up on that time. So let's get started. Let's get to it. He really didn't reinforce the city at all. Okay. Let's try some bombardment just a little bit. We want to use our weakest units to try to attack the city. The hill giant has decent enough odds. I mean, 99.9%. Can you ask for more? Don't always get an opportunity like this. Okay, the city has been captured. There's simply a temple and a granary in it. So the idea here is that we could actually use this city to feed our vampires, but it has such a low population, we're just going to burn it. Burning it should increase the Armageddon counter. So let's watch that. It's 32. It jumped up by another 2 points. So raising cities most certainly causes that. Some of your units have gone on to serve the Mercuryans in the afterlife. I'm not sure how that works exactly. Like, why would evil alignment units serve the Mercuryans? Because they're a good faction. Like, let's say you went to the afterlife. Why would you serve the good guys when you were a bad guy? Unless you were strong-armed into it. And does that mean the good guys are strong-armed into serving the bad guys? I guess that would make sense from the perspective of from this philosophy that Kael had when it came to how the game should work, and that you should be able to steamroll your opponents once you gained the upper hand, so that way the game wouldn't drag on when everybody knew there was already a clearly decided winner. So it might have to do with that. It might be why the decision was made that you actually support, like, any units that die from your team support the opposite team in a roundabout way. So then, I think this is the ideal place to leave off at. In terms of, well, it's the end of this turn. We got our city captured. We defended against this attack here. We saw the first signs of Armageddon, kind of. We had the Blight, obviously. And that hurt our cities a little bit. But as you can see, they're rebounding now. 3 population in each to give them a good start. They're going to be growing. We're building more farms to help build this synergy that we have with our civics here, as well as the civilization we're playing. Hopefully leveraging the fact that we can actually use our vampires or our cities to feed our vampires. And we want big cities because of that. We want the population to be large. And now that I actually know that you can actually have an unlimited number of feedings, and you will only get +1 on happiness from the cruel oppression of it, makes that XP a lot cheaper to get, I have to say. So anyway, that pretty much does it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.